All right, what's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2002 Honda Odyssey. Up front is a 3.5-liter V6, and down below is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm super excited to be driving this here Honda Odyssey for two main reasons. First of all, when I grew up, a close friend's parents had one of these Honda Odysseys, and so I grew up in the back seat of one of these whenever we went to football practice or baseball practice, soccer practice, or if we were just hanging out trading Lego minifigures, it was done through one of these Honda Odysseys. So I have a little bit of nostalgia with these vans. But the second reason I'm excited to be driving this van is because this is the facelift model of the second generation Honda Odyssey. So this generation of Honda Odyssey was made from 1999 till 2004. But in 2002, for the last two model years, they actually changed a couple of things. They changed up the engine and transmission, which is a big deal, and we'll talk about why a little bit later on.
But before we get on with the rest of the video, if you are looking to help out the channel, there are some awesome links in the description below. One is for Cash for Cars, if you're looking to sell your vehicle, get a quote, help the channel. We also have the fixed OBD2 Bluetooth sensor to help diagnose your car. Buy one, help the channel. And we have con plates. If you don't want to drill holes in your front bumper but still need to display your license plate, you can suction cup it to your windshield, and when you buy one, you help out the channel. Thank you to all the sponsors of this video, but let's get on with it.
So let's get back to the 3.5-liter V6 under the hood. It is a J-Series V6 from Honda. Honda's been using the J-Series forever, and they actually still use it to this day. Like I mentioned, this is the facelift, so this actually makes 240 horsepower, where the pre-facelift 99 to 01 actually only makes 210. So this gets 30 more horsepower over the pre-facelift. This is technically a J35A4, where the previous one had a J35A1. Basically, you get a little bit more horsepower, and that's really all you need to know. Like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed automatic transmission. Again, something new for the 2002 model year, because the 4-speed it replaced was rather problematic. There was a bearing inside those transmissions that liked to explode, and it would put shrapnel all throughout the transmission, clogging things up, overheating things, and just making a general mess of the transmission, and it wasn't a good time. Now, that's not to say that this 5-speed is without issue either. Some people have had second gear or third gear issues, and there was an update to add an oiling system for second gear specifically, but it didn't really work all that well. So if you're looking at these on the secondhand market and they say transmission issue, that's a pretty common thing. However, I do want to say, going along with that, I drove about 35 minutes to come film this car today, and I passed by 4 of these Honda Odysseys in this generation. 4 of them. So that doesn't mean that the transmission problems took these things off the road. They're still buzzing. Driving this one here is now my 5th one I've seen just this day here in 2021, 19 years later, which I have to say is pretty remarkable. So don't let the transmission issues really scare you away. Last but not least, of course, the Honda Odyssey is front-wheel drive. So let's talk about the interior. We have quite a bit to talk about in here, a lot of typical Honda stuff, but you still gotta love it. Well, in front of me, I have 3 main gauges. On the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and on the right, I have my fuel, gear, and coolant temperature. Very, very basic layout, very easy to see, very easy to read, and that's what I look for in cars. Honda was always very good at this throughout the 2000s. They're not exciting gauges, but they're very easy to read, and I will argue that that's more important. On the steering wheel, I don't have any buttons besides cruise control to the bottom right, and of course the horn. Very typical of Honda. To the left of me, I have my traction control, cruise, and mirror adjusters, which I like this little cluster of buttons. However, there is a big dead switch, which would power the power doors in the rear. This does not get power doors. However, they were optional on the Honda Odyssey. Moving on to the door itself, I have lock and unlock, and then my power windows, as well as child safety locks, and a little door cup / cubby. Moving into the center, I have 2 climate control vents and the hazard switch and digital clock in the center. I really like this. It's a nice center finish for the Honda Odyssey. It looks very presentable. Again, very, very typical of Honda from the 2000s. Then we have our climate controls. Our climate controls are spread throughout the entire width of the dash. And I do have fan speed, where to send it, temperature, and I have controls for the rear climate controls, which is very, very nice, especially if you have kids or young adults or really anyone you don't want messing with their own temperature. You can control it from up here. Very, very nice. Then I do have an aftermarket radio because every radio from the early 2000s was pretty much garbage, and a dome light switch off to the right. Then I do have two little pop-out cup holders. However, we won't be doing a big friggin' bottle test in those. We have more reassuring ones down below. But then I have this giant cubby. This is very, very typical of Honda. Then moving on to the actual center console itself, I do have cup holders, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test, and like I always say, Honda knocks it out of the park nearly every time. And so the 2002 Honda Odyssey passes the big friggin' bottle test. Then I get just this little tray, I guess if you want to put coins, or really, because this is a minivan, this is just going to get full of whatever your kids have. And then I have two rear cup holders again for the rear seats, or extra storage for the front two occupants. Now, the seats are very comfortable. They are this late 90s fabric from Honda. I really, really enjoy all the Hondas that I drive from this era. They feel really, really nice, and I really enjoy them. However, we do have back seats, so let's go do some back seat reviews. So, getting in the back of the Honda Odyssey, like I said up front, there are no power doors on this specific one. However, they're not hard to close. They're very, very light. Your kid's going to be able to do it, which I think is a big, big thing. So once we're back here, plenty of space back here. I'm 5'11", I'm an adult, and I don't have any headspace issues or any knee issues. I do have my own controls up here for fan speed and where to send it, as well as I get these great vents on the ceiling I can turn up and down. These are better than any airplane I've ever ridden, so I really, really enjoy these vents. Other than that, nothing really too crazy back here. I can utilize the cup holders on the front center console if I'd really like to, but great space. Now let's take a quick look at the third row. So we're in the third row of the Honda Odyssey, and obviously it's going to get a little bit more cramped back here, but not by much. If I actually sit behind the seat, you know, my knees are touching the seat in front of me, but not by much. Again, headroom is great, and I have the same vents that I find up there back here as well. Great size, great airflow. However, I don't get to control the temperature or fan speed, but at least, you know, I can close this if I want or open it or things like that. I do also have a cup holder back here, which is really nice, and I get two cup holders over there. Don't know why Honda Odysseys do this. One cup holder here, two cup holders there. They've always done this, but I do have a storage compartment over here that I don't get over there, so that's probably the reason for that. But like I said, great, great space. Now let's take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, so we're on the back of the Honda Odyssey from 2002. No power tailgate, but it does have these very nice struts, and it's not hard to open at all. The really nice thing is that you get this really deep storage thing down here, storage space, really. But these rear seats actually fold down into this rear compartment. So this second gen Odyssey was the first minivan from Honda to do this, where it was basically a stowaway thing. So then it had a flat loading floor. So if you wanted to keep the two seats, but you wanted to eliminate the third row, you could put it here, and then you could load up whatever you need to do if you're going to move into college, go to school, whatever it might be. So that is super, super nice. I really, really like that about these Hondas. And they're so utilitarian. They can do whatever you need them to do. If you want that third row, if you want to carry people around, great. Have it up, keep it up, lovely. Or you could fold it away and just have two seats and a huge cargo area. Really, really love that too. So very, very versatile when it comes to storage around the back. Now we got to talk about the looks. And first of all, I love the fact that this is finished in red. My neighbor growing up had a identical red Honda Odyssey. This is one of those cars that just has really deep nostalgia for me. And I think that's why I like the look of them so much. I really do enjoy the exterior of this car, and I think it is just because I grew up around them, and it sort of reminds me of a simpler time. Back when the biggest issue in my life was where I misplaced the instructions to my new Lego set. That was the biggest worry on my mind at that time. Oh, how times have changed. And so let's get to my final thoughts here on this second generation Honda Odyssey. Well, driving it drives just like a Honda from this era. It's great, it's easy to drive, it's simple, feels good, and I like it. And I think it's held up really well for having 110,000 miles, being 19 years old right now. You can't say these things don't hold up. And I think that's my real final takeaway, is the fact that I saw 4 of these on the road on my way here. 2 greens, a light blue, and a dark blue. these things are still kicking. They do everything you need a minivan to do. They have the low floors so you can get kids into them easily. They have the extra row of seating. The storage area in the back is very, very complimentary. It's well built. Nothing in here is really rattling, I'm really noticing. There's a slight suspension squeak somewhere. I'm not quite sure where, but hey, this is an Illinois car. If you can go 110,000 miles and you only have a squeak in your suspension, you're either a master of dodging potholes or it's something extraterrestrial, because the roads around here are not pleasant. But other than that one tiny suspension rattle I kind of sort of hear, it's all held together really well. This thing is well built, and it just brings on the good memories. This is really a 10 out of 10 van for me. I don't know why, but I love these things so much. And lastly, I was really excited to drive this here Honda Odyssey because I've made it my personal goal to try to drive as many cars as I can that will be off the road in 5 years, 10 years, things that won't be around by the time I'm married or have kids. I want to capture that and show them and show the world what these vehicles were like. But the more and more I drive this, I don't think this van's going anywhere, and that's a good thing. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Naomi for letting me take out her Honda Odyssey. This thing is an absolute joy, and I'm really glad to finally get behind the wheel of one of these, because like I said, I grew up riding in the back of one of them, but I've actually never driven one, so that's super exciting for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.